The grocery store was quiet that afternoon, sunlight pouring through the large glass windows and glinting off the polished floor. Shelves were neatly stacked, the hum of refrigerators filled the air, and everything looked normal, almost too normal for what was about to unfold. Near the dairy aisle stood two small children, a brother and sister, who seemed out of place amid the comfort and cleanliness of the store. Their clothes were torn, their shoes worn out, their hair a little messy, and their faces held a look that only life's cruel lessons could carve into such young souls. The little girl clutched a gallon of milk to her chest like it was treasure, and her older brother stood beside her, his hand resting protectively on her shoulder. They weren't lost, just waiting, hesitating, staring at the milk in her arms as if deciding whether to keep it or put it back. They were orphans, too proud to beg, but too hungry to survive without help. If you believe that kindness still exists in this world, that even strangers can change someone's life in a single moment, then please take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Because what happened next in that supermarket will remind you that hearts can be softer than they appear, even under leather and tattoos. The boy's name was Evan, about 7 years old, small but standing with the stubbornness of a protector. His sister, Maisie, was 5, quiet, blue-eyed, holding the milk like it was her mother's last request. Their parents had died in a car accident a year ago, and since then, the two had been shuffled from one temporary home to another until they found themselves living in an old trailer behind an abandoned gas station. Most nights, they survived on little more than canned beans and bread. But today, Maisie was sick. She'd been coughing all night, her lips pale, and Evan knew milk was the one thing that could help her feel better. He had walked her to the store, holding her hand tightly, promising her they would somehow bring it home. They had no money, only courage. As they stood near the aisle, debating what to do, 3 men entered from the far end, rough-looking, broad-shouldered, their leather vests carrying the Hells Angels emblem that made people instinctively move aside. The sound of their boots echoed down the aisle. One of them, Rex, walked a little ahead, tattoos winding down his arms, a black bandana tied around his head. Behind him were Cole and Maverick, both built like the kind of men you wouldn't want to cross. Most shoppers looked away, but Evan didn't. He stood his ground, clutching Maisie's hand as the bikers approached. Rex stopped when he noticed the 2 kids blocking part of the aisle. His brow furrowed, not in anger, but in curiosity. He crouched down so his eyes were level with theirs. The girl looked scared. The boy didn't flinch. The biker's voice came out rough but calm as gravel. "Hey, kid, you lost?" Evan shook his head. He swallowed hard, his voice trembling as he spoke. "No, but we don't have money for this milk. My sister's sick. Can you pay for it? I promise we'll return the money when we grow up." The biker didn't respond right away. Behind him, his friends exchanged silent glances. For a moment, the hum of the coolers filled the heavy air. Rex looked at the milk, then at the boy's small, steady eyes. Something in that moment broke through his hard exterior, a flash of memory, perhaps, of his own childhood, hungry and scared, before life turned him into the man he became. He nodded slowly, still crouched, and said quietly, "What's your name, kid?" "Evan," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Rex stood, still looking at the 2 children. Without another word, he took the milk gently from Maisie's hands and turned toward the counter. The other 2 bikers followed him, pulling out cash from their pockets. Rex paid for the milk, but not just that. He told the cashier to bag a few more things: bread, fruit, some canned soup, cereal, and a small box of cookies. When he came back, he handed the bag to Evan. The boy's eyes widened, his lips trembling as if he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Maisie held the milk tighter. Rex placed a hand on Evan's shoulder and said softly, "You don't owe me anything. Just grow up good. That's how you pay me back." The children stared at him, silent, confused by the kindness. Evan managed to nod, whispering, "We will." The 3 bikers turned and began walking away, but something about that little boy's courage stayed with them. They didn't leave the parking lot right away. Instead, they watched as the 2 small figures walked down the sidewalk, the boy carrying the bag, the girl holding her milk, disappearing toward the edge of town. Days passed, weeks. But that moment wouldn't leave Rex's mind. He had seen many things in his life, fights, betrayal, regret, but never a child standing so proud in the face of need. One afternoon, he rode his Harley back to that same store and asked the clerk about the kids. The man said he'd seen them a few times, always quiet, sometimes coming in late, sometimes just standing by the shelves, never stealing, just looking. Rex asked where they lived, and the clerk pointed him toward the old gas station at the edge of town. When Rex and his crew arrived there, they saw the truth. The trailer was falling apart, rust eating through the metal, a broken window covered by plastic. The boy was outside trying to fix a leak using an old bucket. The girl sat on a small wooden crate, coughing softly, but smiling when she saw the bikes pull up. Rex walked closer, his boots crunching over gravel. Evan looked up, startled, but not scared. "We said we'll pay you back," the boy stammered. "We're saving up bottles." Rex shook his head, holding up his hand. "I didn't come for that," he said. He looked around at the cracked door, the empty yard, the tired children. Then he looked back at his brothers. "We're fixing this place." Over the next few days, the roar of Harley engines became the sound of hope. The bikers cleaned the yard, repaired the roof, replaced the windows, and brought food. Cole, who had once worked construction, patched the leaks. Maverick painted the walls. Rex found a social worker who helped enroll the kids in a local community program, one that offered meals and schooling. What had started as a single act of compassion in a supermarket turned into something far greater, a promise kept in reverse. When it was all done, Maisie ran up to Rex and hugged his leg tightly. Evan stood beside her, holding a small envelope with a few crumpled coins and bills, their savings. "We still owe you," he said with a shy smile. Rex knelt again, taking the envelope gently from his hand, then tucked it into the boy's shirt pocket. "Keep it," he said. "Use it when someone else needs help. That's how you pay me back." If this story touched your heart, if you believe kindness can come from the most unexpected people, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Before we end, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Rex's place? As the bikers rode off into the fading light, the sound of their engines blended with the laughter of the children echoing through the quiet evening air. And though the world outside kept moving as always, for one small corner of it, that old gas station, that small trailer, and those two little hearts, everything had changed forever, because sometimes kindness doesn't just buy a jug of milk, it buys back someone's faith in humanity.